Hey, what's up guys, WiseGuyVito here, and today I have a tier list video for you guys. This one will be on primary weapons against the Automaton factions, which ones are really good and which ones are not so much. As always, like, share, and subscribe, and let's go straight into the tier list. So, before we start the tier list, let's go over the tiers real quick. S tier would kind of be like the meta picks. These are kind of like the picks that I think are really, really good at level 10 difficulty against the automatons. A tier is above average. These are still really good weapons against the bots, but they might have one glaring issue. We're going to go over there, like what those issues are. B tier is average, kind of mid-performance overall. Neither good nor bad, just kind of just mid overall. C tier is, like below average. Might not be necessarily good against the bots, or they might need some buffs to it in order for it to be a good weapon. And then D tier, this is the dookie tier, this is the bad tier, this is the, I would definitely not be using this against the automatons at all. And there might need to be some, either it's just a weapon that's just not really good against the automatons, or it needs some serious reworks to it for it to be good against the automaton faction. So, without further ado, let's get straight into the tier list. So, the Adjudicator, probably, in my opinion, the best AR in the entire game right now, just simply because it's medium armor pen. It does pretty good damage to it. It's got pretty good durable damage as well. You can customize this thing out to have effectively no recoil to it as well. I understand that at the very beginning, it's going to feel like it's stripping out of your hands, but once you get attachments to this, it feels really good to use, and I really do think that is a solid high A tier weapon right now, currently in Helldivers 2. The only thing I would probably give it, and the reason why it's not an S tier pick, is it needs an extended mag. If it had an extended mag to it, this thing would be Omega S tier. A lot of people are sleeping on this weapon, and I think the Adjudigang people are starting to, speak power to the people who are asleep on this weapon, and saying basically, hey, like, even though this is an AR and ARs aren't as good as a lot of the other weapons on this tier list, this weapon does perform really, really well, and you should definitely take a look at it because it is actually a very good weapon right now in Helldivers 2, especially against the bots. So it's going to be a high A tier weapon for me at this moment in time. The Amendment, this is kind of like light armor pen rifle, came with the not so good war bond with the one true flag in it and everything like that. Not that bad of a weapon, to be honest with you. It has a triple burst feature to it, has a bayonet, has different sights to it, does 200 damage. Just feels really good to use right now, in my opinion. And I do think this is kind of like a high A tier pick. Even though it's a light armor pen weapon, it does good enough damage that if you aim for body parts and legs, it does pretty well. I mean, like, you can leg Devastators with it. You can shoot center mass, or basically shoot like the stomach area, and kill Devastators pretty quick. And it has a series of good reticles to it. I just kind of wish there was just more options for the underbarrel. Maybe you can do something else other than the bayonet. But overall, I do think that this weapon actually does feel pretty good to use right now in Helldivers 2, and definitely check it out whenever you're doing your level 10 difficulties. Blitzer's probably going to be just like a solid B pick, just overall. It's not bad, it's not good. You kind of be close up. It does stun pretty well, does stagger, does arc to different enemies, but again, you have to get close, and that's kind of hard to do against the automatons because they can just light you up, especially a whole bunch of them can light you up at once. Has a fantastic ammo economy because it's limited ammo. It just feels pretty good overall. So that's why I'm putting it into like the B tier category on that front, but it's neither good nor bad, just kind of just mid because you have to get close up to the enemies. Breaker, not gonna lie, Breaker feels kind of just bad against the automatons right now. Kind of wish there was just more options for the Breaker, to be perfectly honest with you. If there was more options for the Breaker, maybe like different ammo types, possibly even just changing how light armor pen weapons work right now, just give them like a little bit more durable damage just overall for light armor penetrating weapons, that this would probably be like a better pick overall. I just think that there's better shotguns that you could just be using right now against the automatons, and we'll definitely go over which shotguns that you should be using right now. But overall, as just like an automatic, just kind of like AA-12 automatic shotgun, even if you were to kit this thing out to the max with a drum mag, good chokes on it and stuff like that, it's still really not that great. You know, like at the very least, you probably have to leg Devastators, but you still kind of have to be close up on them in order for that to happen. And at that point, I'd rather just use the Blitzer because the Blitzer has medium armor pen to it. It's got unlimited ammo to it, so it's like you really don't have to worry about ammo. And there's also other shotguns that you could definitely be using over the breaker. So I'm putting the breaker right now in the C tier category. The Constitution, not gonna lie, I don't think this gun is dookie. To be perfectly honest with you, I just think that it's a low C tier pick. Has mean armor pin to it. You don't really have to be necessarily worried about getting swarmed by Devastators. You just have to just play like the peak game for the most part, like behind cover with this gun. This gun is the most Chad weapon right now in Helldivers 2, bar none. I just wish it had a stripper clip to it. The reload speed is kind of slow to it. If it had a stripper clip to it, I think that this weapon would probably be just like a nice B tier pick at that point, because it actually does pretty good damage just overall. I just think that with the reload speed how it is right now, and with it only having 5 shots per shot, maybe giving it a stripper clip would actually help it out like tremendously, because then you can actually throw weapon or like throw rounds down range, and it would feel pretty good at that point. But I'm gonna put it into the C tier category until that change, or if that change ever happens. Cookout, not gonna lie, guys, this is a super Omega S tier pick for me. This is probably like one of the best, if not like some people would probably say the best primary in the entire game, just because it's just so good, right? Like, you can set Devastators on fire with this. If you set Devastators on fire, they're going to take way more damage because fire got changed in this game. Yes, Devastators are harder to set on fire, but once you do set them on fire, they cook. It staggers. It does really good stagger damage. Just an overall, just a phenomenal primary weapon. Even though it's light armor penetration, does not matter. Fire does pretty good. So that's why I'm putting it into the S tier rank. The the counter sniper diligence. I'm not gonna lie, this is also going to be an S tier rank for me as well. Does 200 damage, has a medium armor pin. Just the ease of use of this weapon, just as a DMR, is like very good. I do think that it has another competitor on this tier list, and we'll go over what that competitor is. But for the most part, I do find this weapon to be a very good pick right now in level 10 difficulties. It's definitely a top tier pick against the automatons overall. You can also kit this out as well to make it have no recoil or to have very little recoil. It's just like an overall, just a really good, kind of like a good mid to long range sniper. Just very good. That's what I'm putting into the S tier ranking. The Defender, not gonna lie, I do think that this thing is not too great against the automatons. I do think it's probably going to be a C tier pick for me overall. I just wish that it had just like a little bit more, possibly some underbarrel attachments, maybe a suppressor to it. I think that would actually be kind of cool as well. Whenever they add suppressors to this game, because they're bound to. I can't see Arrowhead not adding suppressors. If you can go stealth, like actually go stealth diving, and have it average 2 against the automatons, I do think that should be kind of a good strat. And to be honest with you, I probably would bring the Defender at that point, because I think that should be kind of a cool little loadout to have. But currently, right now, how I see it is that why would I use this whenever I can just use the Liberator, right? I'd rather just use the Liberator overall, other than the Defender right now. The Defender has cool attachments to it, like an extended mag and stuff like that. I understand that, but overall, right now, seeing how light armor penetrating weapons are as well, just the overall feel of light armor penetration weapons are just not as good as medium armor penetrating weapons. The ease of use of medium armor penetration weapons are just bar none better, even if you know the weak spots of those weapons, the weak spot of enemies. And if you use light armor penetrating weapons against those weak spots, I just don't think that light armor penetrating weapons are rewarding enough to basically warrant the use of those weapons. If we're talking about efficiency, if you just want to have fun, you can use whatever you want to. But as far as like actually using it for efficiency on level 10 difficulties, I definitely would not be using the Defender at all. It's just kind of just a C tier pick. It's not necessarily like trash garbage in my opinion, because like you can still kit it out to hit Devastator heads and stuff like that, which is fine. You can also use this one-handed as well. So if you want to use it like a ballistic shield, or even like a the energy protective shield and stuff like that, those are also really good options to use. But overall, I just really don't think this weapon is really good right now. And so whenever they do make changes to like armor penetrating weapons, maybe up the durable damage, because that's what they really need right now for weak spots and for body parts. Maybe at that point it would probably go up a tier or two, depending on like what the change would or like is. So that's why I'm putting it into the C tier category. Diligence. Odo, I've seen a lot of Odo videos on this weapon. I do think this weapon's actually pretty good against the automatons. I do think, though, that the counter snipe of Diligence is just bar none, just better. Same thing with the lever action. I think the lever action is better if you want like a solid DMR. But the nice thing about the Diligence, though, is that it has a lot of ammo to it. You can kind of build into this so that it does headshot a ton of Devastators. It feels pretty good to use, but you kind of have to build into it a little bit, right? For that reason, I do think that it's a solid, just high A tier weapon. Like overall, it's probably up there with these weapons, like the Amendment and the Adjudicator. I do find it to be actually like a very, very good weapon. I think still, though, the problem with the Diligence right now is that on automatons, if it could do more damage to body parts specifically, I think this weapon would be a solid S tier pick. Because at that point, you're aiming for like other weak spots other than the head. You know, like you're aiming for leg shots and stuff like that, and it could actually probably be pretty good at that point. But I do think that this weapon is a good versatile weapon just overall. I just don't think that that's probably as good as the counter sniper Diligence or the lever action. Spoiler alert, like lever action is probably going to be in the S tier pick. But like we'll talk about that whenever it comes down to it. But I'm going to put the Diligence in the A tier category. Dominator's kind of fallen off for me a little bit. It's not necessarily like a bad weapon. It's just it feels really slow. Reload speed is not necessarily too great on it. It does medium armor pin. That's great. But I just kind of wish that they would just kind of give like just a little bit more ergonomics to it. But overall, it's a solid weapon. You know, like it's fine. You can put attachments to it to kind of mitigate like the recoil. But overall, though, it's a solid A tier. You know, like nothing's really happened to this gun. It's just other guns have came out and other guns have kind of like taken its spot as far as like efficiency at level 10 difficulties. So that's why I'm putting it into the A tier category. Double-edged sickle. It's good. I feel like that the double-edged sickle is just better on bugs and Illuminate, but it's also really good on bots. But you kind of have to build into it. So if you don't use fire resistant armor, or if you use anything else, even if you use medic armor, like I don't think this weapon is really meant for medic armor. If you want to stem out and use this gun while you're stemming out, cool. I think it's a waste of time. Just use a vitality booster and use fire armor, and then you can get armor pin 4, right? That's fine. I feel like that the change that happened to it was a nerf, because you can't necessarily use whatever armor that you want to use for it, right? Yes, you would take damage for it, but that was fine. To be perfectly honest with you, if they would revert the change back to what it was before and not the armor pin 4 and just knock off the armor pin 4, I'd be perfectly fine with that. The problem is that whenever you need armor pin 4, you're pretty much taking a lot of damage and you're probably going to die, right? That's if you are not wearing fire resistant armor and having a vitality booster. If you have the vitality booster, which 9 times out of 10 you're probably going to have it, because if you're running with competent players at level 10 difficulty, they're probably going to bring the vitality booster. And if you also run with the fire resistant armor on top of that, you're going to be getting armor pin 4 consistently to the point where you can actually use it against like Hulks and Devastators, and they're going to be shredding everything, right? If you build into it, it's an S tier pick, okay? If you aren't building into it, it's probably going to be just a B tier pick, because again, the damage of it is just so bad right now that the damage inflicted on the player is just so bad that I just think that it's like, if we're going to be perfectly charitable, it's just a mid weapon. But if you build into it with fire resistant armor, though, it is super mega S tier, but you have to build into it. So I'm going to leave it in the S tier pick, but that's why I just want to explain it to you guys. The Eruptor. The Eruptor is S tier. I don't think I really have to explain too much about this. This can take down Hulks if you shoot them in the eye twice. This can take down Devastators in one shot in the chest. There have been times where I shoot a Devastator once on the side, and the arm takes the brunt of the explosion, and like it doesn't die, but another follow-up shot will usually take it out. It's just overall just a really good weapon right now. And Helldivers too. I found this to be better on automatons than to do bugs. It's also pretty good against the Illuminate as well. But on automaton, I believe that that's where the gun really shines at. You can also destroy automaton structures as well. So like fabricators and such. Just overall, just a good all-arounder weapon. and it just feels really good to use. That's why I'm putting it into the S tier category. Crossbow, kind of the same reason, a little bit different. It's very versatile. You can take a ballistic shield or the energy shield with this because you can one-hand stuff with it. Feels pretty good. Does 620 damage, which is also pretty good as well. Does really, really good explosive damage. Takes about maybe 2 shots to kill a Devastator, but if there's a group of Devastators, it'll also kill the Devastators around those Devastators that you're shooting at, which is pretty good. Just overall, just a really good weapon. Has a great ammo economy to it. It's got decent reload speed to it. It's not particularly too fast, but it's not slow either. Just overall, just a very good weapon overall, so that's what I'm putting into the S tier category. The Halt, probably my favorite shotgun in the game right now. Feels really good to use. Has medium armor pin to it, which is great. You know, medium armor pin. The reason why it's so good right now in Helldivers 2, and the reason why I think people are kind of trying to make light armor pin into something that it's really not. The problem with light armor penetrating weapons versus medium armor penetrating weapons is that medium armor penetrating weapons do everything that light armor penetrating weapons do, but they do it better, right? Light armor penetrating weapons are supposed to be focusing on weak points, body parts, and they're supposed to have a lot of ammo. The problem right now is that I don't see light armor penetrating weapons having a lot of ammo. I feel that medium armor penetrating weapons are really good at handling weak spots and body parts as well compared to light armor penetrating weapons. Yes, sure, you can take a diligence out and shoot people and like shoot Devastators in the head all day long. That's fine. But whenever it comes down to just like the ease of use of light armor penetrating weapons, if you miss a shot, it's no big deal. You're still doing damage. The bullet's not ricocheting off of a Devastator, right? It's still actually doing damage to the Devastator that you're shooting, and the Devastators are going to be the number one thing that you're going to be shooting at. Same thing with the Halt here, right? The Halt is a medium armor pin shotgun. It also does stun, which is also really good. So if you run into a pack of Devastators or just shooting you with rocket Devastators and heavy Devastators just shooting at you, you can just switch to the stun rounds, shoot a couple stun rounds, switch back to the medium armor pin stuff, and just either leg them. You can shoot them in the head. You can shoot them in the chest. It just does really, really, really good damage overall, and I really like this gun a lot. I had someone commented that there is actually a hotkey for switching over weapon types. I don't know what the key is on y'all's keyboards, or everyone's keyboards, but there is a key for that. Just look through the settings and look at the keybinds, and you can be able to see the hot swap for different ammo types. It's pretty good overall, but I do think the Halt is a really good shotgun right now, especially against the Automatons. You should definitely use it on levels and difficulties. Incendiary Breaker, not gonna lie, I think this is not necessarily a good choice. I understand that it's like fire and it sets Devastators on fire. Use the Cookout, okay? The Cookout staggers, and that's what's nice about it, right? I understand you can spray into a crowd of Devastators and set them on fire, and I understand there's light armor penetration, but I just don't think that's that good. The Cookout also has a better ammo economy than the Incendiary Breaker. I think that the Cookout in this situation and against this faction just blows the Incendiary Breaker out of the water, and it kind of makes it a little bit obsolete. So that's why I'm putting it into the D tier right now. It's not necessarily a bad weapon. It's just not really good against the Automatons. So that's why I'm putting it into the D tier category. Lever action. I do think that this is the contender against the Counter Sniper Diligence as one of the best DMRs in the entire game right now, especially against the Automatons. I really like this weapon. This is my favorite game in the entire. This is my favorite gun in the entire game right now. The only thing I would change about this is that I wish I did have a speed loader to it. If I had a speed loader to it, this gun would shred. Like this gun's DPS would be really good. What's nice about the lever action is it's 300 damage. It has really good durable damage as well. So if you want to aim for like body parts of Devastators and stuff like that to take them out faster, because like you can leg a Devastator in 2 shots. You can take out a Devastator in the chest with 3 shots, right? If of course you can always kill a Devastator in the head, that's fine. But whenever it comes down to just legging them or just aiming for body parts and stuff like that, you can cut a Devastator in half with like 2 shots. It just feels really good to use right now. It's just this reload speed, right? So if you want something that staggers Devastators, by the way, like this weapon also staggers Devastators. If you want to stagger Devastators and just have like a really solid, just heavy hitting DMR, you bring the lever action. If you don't really care about necessarily staggering Devastators too much, but just causing them to flinch, because that's what the counter diligence does, it causes like Devastators to flinch, meaning that they'll kind of shoot off away from you, right? So whenever you get flinched, right, whenever you get hit by a bullet, right, you kind of tense up and flinch, and you'll kind of go off target a little bit. It just kind of depends on what you want. It's a playstyle thing. My playstyle, I like the heavy hitting lever action more. It's got some good reticle options as well. Kind of wish that there was just more overall attachments for this gun. But the nice thing about the counter diligence is that it has more attachment options, and it causes Devastators to flinch. It has more ammo to it. It's got a better reload to it. But I do believe that probably the lever action has a better ammo economy because you're reloading one bullet at a time. It's kind of like a pump action, right? Versus the counter diligence, if you reload, you're dropping the entire mag, throwing a new one in, right? And you might have some extra bullets that you want to keep. With lever action, you don't have to worry about that. You can just reload one at a time, right? So again, it's really a playstyle thing. You might need to build into it even, right? If you go siege ready, you have a faster reload speed, right? More ammo for the lever action. Just overall, I really do think this gun's really good against the automatons. I think a lot of people were kind of thinking this gun's not that great. This gun is really, really good against the automatons. So that's what I'm putting into the S tier category. Liberator Carbine, not gonna lie. I understand, people call this, the small wart. Against the automatons, though, I really don't think this weapon's that great because it just goes off in too many areas. It's not necessarily trash. If you want to leg Devastators with this weapon, that's fine. But whenever it comes down to just overall, how the gun is, I find it to be a better Illuminate weapon and a Terminator weapon, not necessarily a bioweapon. So that's why I'm putting it into the C tier. It's not necessarily complete utter garbage, but I do think that it's just not great against the bots. Liberator Concussive. I just think that this gun is just really bad, right? I'm gonna have to put it in the D tier. I feel like it's better on bugs and on and on Illuminate because you're gonna be running into more light armor penetrating enemies. Against, sure, you can use this to leg Devastators with and stuff like that, and that'll cause them to stun. That's fine. I just don't think that's worth it whenever you can just bring a gun that just outright kills Devastators, right? Why cause a Devastator to stun whenever you just kill it outright? And I don't think with how many bullets you have to send down range to actually stop something and stun it, to cause it to concuss, right? To cause it to flinch out of its mind, right? I just don't think that's worth it to just bring something that just kills it, right? So that's why I'm putting it into the D tier category. Liberator Pen, phenomenal gun right now. I like the Adjudicator better. That's just me. But this gun, you can build it into making it into a laser beam with a drum mag to it. It does medium armor pen as well. Even though it does low damage, that's fine. You can just mag dump something with little to no recoil at all, and that's what makes it good. So I'm putting it into the A tier category. Liberator, it's just mid. It's got some things to it where you can, play around with the attachments and stuff like that. But overall, I don't think the attachments really help it up that much. I just think that, best case scenario is probably just a high B tier weapon at that point. But overall, I just think that it's a solid just B tier pick overall. Pacifier is just C tier pick for me. Until they do something to, stun rounds overall, just stun overall. For whatever reason, Arrowhead's doing this tug and pull thing with stun. I don't think they need to do that. Stun was already trash already. They buff stun, but then whenever it comes down to the threshold of when you need to stun something, they increase that on certain enemies or just all enemies in general, and that also applied to other weapons as well. And I really don't think that's a good idea because stun was already kind of shit already. But now this gun, where it felt fine before, to be honest with you. The nice thing about it is that it does have medium armor pen, so you probably could stun things somewhat consistently. But again, it takes 4 or 5 bullets to stun something, and I don't think it needs to take that many bullets to stun something. I think it needs to take way less bullets to stun something. If it was that, then it probably would be better. I really like this gun. I like the way that it sounds. I like the way that it reloads. Like, I really do like this gun. I just think that they just need to do more to this weapon to make it just a little bit better. It probably needs to hit a little bit harder too. To be honest with you, just do like a little bit more damage to it. But overall, I do not think this gun is necessarily like in a good spot right now. So hopefully they do make some changes to it. The Plas Sniper. Okay, this is the Killzone Sniper. I really like this gun right now. I'm almost tempted to put it in C tier, but if I'm going to be realistic here, right, it doesn't have a good ammo economy to it, but it feels really good to use. You can take down tanks with this with one burst. You can take down Hulks with one burst. You can take down turrets with one burst with this gun. It just feels like a really, really, really good sniper. Like, if you want to play as like the sniper main, you take this gun and you can do work with it. The problem is, though, is that it has a bad ammo economy to it, so you might want to bring a supply pack to it. If you bring a supply pack with it, it's probably going to be an S tier pick, right? So if you kind of build into it, it's pretty good. But I use it kind of just by itself, and even when I use it by itself, it still feels really fucking good to use. So that's why I'm putting it in kind of like the A tier pick. I'm almost tempted to put it in the S tier pick because it feels really good to use right now. But overall, though, I'm really happy that this gun went from like the most crap weapon in the entire game to probably one of the best guns against the Automaton faction right now. It just feels really solid to use. That's why I'm putting it into the A tier category. The Plasma Punisher, it's good. It's just an S tier because like it just does good stagger AoE that does pretty good damage too, and it has a good reload to it. Like, you just get it. It's not one at a time like a pump action. You just get rid of the old like cartridge, I guess was what he uses, put in a new one, and then you're back into the fight again. It just feels pretty good overall, so that's what I'm putting into the S tier. Pummeler, I'm kind of put it like low S. It just needs better stun. If it has better stun, it probably would just be better as a light armor penetrating option. Also needs more ammo. I'm sorry, it needs way more ammo for this gun. Again, if light armor penetrating weapons are supposed to have just more ammo overall, but aren't going to have that versatility and ease of use of medium armor pen, they need to have more ammo to them just overall. So that's why I'm putting it kind of the C tier. Until they make some actual noticeable good changes to stun, it's just not going to be it for me until they make those changes. Because why bring this whenever I can bring a weapon that actually kills with the same amount of bullets that if I were to stun with, right? And like the thing is, like, I'm trading out damage for stun. I shouldn't have to do that, right? I should like the reward of stun is just not good enough in my mind. So that's why I'm putting it into the C tier category. Torture, like if you're a masochist, cool, use it. It does good burn damage, I'll give it that. But other than that, though, it's just not that great of a weapon. Against the Automatons, it's a fantastic weapon against the Illuminate, and it's a really good weapon against the Terminates, but it's not really that great against the Automatons. So I'm putting it into the D tier category. Punisher, Cookout, just better. Cookout, just better. Holt is just better. Overall, I'd rather use those weapons overall. Again, like other than the Punisher. The nice thing about the Punisher, though, is that like you could build into it to make it better to like Devastators with. That's fine. It actually does pretty good damage. But overall, though, I just really wouldn't use it compared to those other S tier ranking weapons, or like those other S tier ranking shotguns, like the Holt and like the Cookout. Because the Cookout, even though it's light armor pen, doesn't matter. Sets things on fire, cooks them. It's pretty good. Holt has stun rounds and has medium armor penetration on his flechette. So just overall, just a phenomenal weapon overall. Punisher, light armor pen, does good damage, that's fine, and you can like Devastators with it, but I just think that, again, it needs a little bit more to it. Because like these weapons just blow out the Punisher out of the water. Purifier is pretty good right now. It's probably like one of the best weapons in the entire game, if not the best weapon in the entire game, because you can use it as like... You use it kind of like a DMR almost. It has a charge up to it where it does AoE, nice AoE damage to Devastators and everything else. It just does really, really, really good work. It's just a phenomenal weapon just overall. This was one of the worst weapons in the entire game. Probably the worst weapon in the entire game. There's no reason to use this weapon at all. And they buffed it, and it feels phenomenal to use. So Arrowhead does have the capability of balancing weapons and actually make them really, really good. It's just, let's see them just just trying to make certain guns like a little bit more versatile. So we'll see. But overall, the Purifier does feel pretty good to use right now, and against the Automatons. Reprimand. I just wish I had more ammo in the mag. Just like overall, right? They can either do two things to it, right? They can either add like an extended mag to it, or just add more ammo in the magazine, right? I think it's a solid A tier pick overall, right? Does decent damage. I think this does like 125 damage or something like that. 125, 135, just like around that ballpark. Has me more pin to it, so it's it's versatile enough. I think it just needs more ammo to it. Once it has more ammo to it, it probably would be in a really good spot. So that's why I'm putting it into the A tier category. The Scorcher, super S tier, really good. It's kind of like a Plaz auto rifle. Just feels really good to use. Like you can put it in full auto mode, kind of use like an AR. Just overall, just a very good weapon. It has some AoE effect to it whenever the actual projectile hits something. It actually has some AoE effect to it, which is also really nice. So it has some AoE capabilities to it, which is, like I said, it was pretty nice. That's why I'm putting it into the S tier. Scythe. Okay, I'm almost tempted to put this in S tier because I do think this gun is actually really good. It's light armor pin. That's fine. You're using a laser beam. You don't have to worry about recoil. Just aim for Devastator's heads for days. If you want to laser max, use this weapon. But I do think that it requires kind of like a skilled hand. I would probably would be using unflinching armor with this, because you don't have to worry about, okay, if I get hit by a bullet, okay, cool, so what? I'm still hitting my target regardless. It sets things on fire as well. It's just overall just a very good weapon against the automatons overall. It's got an ammo economy as long as you don't like burn out. You can get the attachments for it as well. That makes it to where you can fire longer. It's just overall just a solid weapon, but it requires kind of like a skilled hand. Are you good at aiming? Okay, cool. If you're really good at aiming, and if you can hit basically Devastator heads with it, and just laser max out the gate, some people might say this is an S tier weapon. I'm gonna put it at a high A tier. It feels really good to use right now. Okay, definitely use it. You guys let me know what you think down in the comment section below about this weapon. Do you think this is an S tier pick against the automatons? Do you think it kind of falls just like a solid A tier pick, or some other option, or some other tier? Just let me know down below. The sickle, just it's like a low A for me. I feel like this has kind of fallen off a bit, because I like, if I'm gonna use anything else, I'll just use the Dickel, bro. I'll just use the double-edged sickle, But if I'm wanting something that's just like a light armor pen weapon that I don't have to worry about bullets for or anything like that, like this gun has great ammo economy to it. It's stable enough. It's got some deviation within the lasers a little bit now, so it's kind of hard to hit Devastator heads at times, but I don't think it's tremendously that bad. I think that it's just like a solid A tier pick. I just think that this is just like the better Liberator, but it's a laser gun. So, and also sounds pretty good and it feels pretty good to use, so I'm putting it into the A tier. Slugger. Okay, I'm almost tempted to put the Slugger in S tier. I really am. I just think that the lever action is probably better. But the nice thing about the Slugger is that it has way more ammo capacity to it compared to the lever action. Lever action does more damage. It's got a higher velocity on its bullets, so there's no necessarily lead and stuff like that. Where you're, it's not necessarily hit scan, but it's close to it. The Slugger has a slower projectile to it. But the nice thing about the Slugger, though, is that it staggers. That's what I like about it. It staggers very, very well against Devastators. This is a Devastator killing monster, okay? It does pretty well. I just think that if you're wanting to get long shots, you can use this to get long shots. You really can. Because they got rid of the dumb thing where, the slug deviated, over range. It would kind of go off into different directions, right? That felt really bad. They changed that to where that is no longer a thing, and I really do think this shotgun feels really good to use right now. I really do think so. Actually, I'll probably put it in S tier because the more that I'm talking about it, the more that I really do think this gun feels really good. It's a playstyle thing. If you want to use a DMR, something that's similar, to the Slugger, but just better than just use lever action. If you want more ammo capacity, I would definitely use the Slugger. Slugger feels really good against the automatons right now. Definitely try it out, because after the buff that I got, it feels really good to use. Breaker Spray and Pray. Do I even have to explain why this gun is just garbage right now? It's Birdshot again. Okay, Birdshot. Use Birdshot. So we're talking about light armor pen already, right? It's just not good. Don't use it against the automatons. Don't use it. Use the Punisher. To be honest with you, I probably would use the Incendiary Breaker, even though it falls to the kind of like within the same tier here. You know, I would just use the Incendiary Breaker if I wanted to spray and pray weapon. You know. Even though like the Cookout is technically like the best spray and pray weapon in the entire game because it does stagger and everything else, I rather use the Incendiary Breaker. Screw this gun. Don't use it. Don't use it at all. Okay. It's gonna be a D tier pick for me. Okay, so these weapons are kind of weird. So these are the other Killzone weapons. You have the Killzone SMG and the Killzone Assault Rifle. The Killzone SMG I feel like is really bad. Because why would you use this over the Knight? The Knight is just better because you can put attachments to it. You can make it into like a laser beam. It's just way more fun to use compared to the Stag. I kind of think that both these weapons are just D tier picks against the automatons because there's just another weapon that just does it better. If you want to use these things and just RP out, that's fine, right? Not saying you can't use these weapons. I just think that if you're looking for efficiency against, you know, like in level 10, I just think these weapons are just glorified just weapon skins. And to be perfectly honest with you, these weapons should have been skins instead of being actual weapons. I understand that people would probably be mad about that take, but they're so similar to like obviously like this gun, or like, you know, like the assault rifle is based off of the Liberator and the SMG is based off of the Knight. Just make those into skins, right? Like, they're so close. They would be better if they had a lot more ammo to it. If they had a lot more, like, and I mean like a lot more ammo. I'm not talking about like 5 more bullets to them. Like, give the assault rifle like 75 bullets. Give the SMG 65 bullets or 70 bullets, you know, or the same. Just make them both 75. I think that would be a good change, just overall. Because at that point, there's a reason to use them. It's because you're just one ammo max, you know. And then it would not blow the Knight or the Liberator out of the water because you have attachments, right? These guns don't have like good attachments to them, other than actually no, like these guns don't have any attachments to them at all. Whereas the Knight and the Liberator do. Like, yes, you can put an extended mag on both these guns, right? But you might be losing out on ammo. But overall, though, like, you know, like I just think these guns are just not particularly too great against the automatons right now. And like, I don't know what to really make out of these guns other than just like, hey, just give them more ammo, and I think they'd be fine. The Knight, you know, is fine. Yeah, what's all else to say about them? You know, like as a terminated weapon and as an illuminate weapon, it's definitely better. But against the automatons, probably not. So I wouldn't use it personally. You know, yes, it's one-handed. Just use something else that's one-handed if you're looking to use a ballistic shield and stuff like that, and just like a little bit more ease of use. Just use something else. The Tenderizer, not gonna lie, Tenderizer feels pretty good because the automatons, because you can kind of build into it. Even base Tenderizer feels good to use. It just feels buttery smooth to use. This is like a really good just light armor pen weapon that I do think that they should base off of the other light armor pen or training weapons in the game. I probably would up its durable damage just like a little bit, to be perfectly honest with you. It does 105 damage, I think. Also give it way more ammo. Like give this weapon an extended mag as an attachment and give it way more ammo to it, and it'd probably be in a really good spot. But overall, just kind of just, you know, it's a high A tier pick for me. Variable, okay. So total fire can kill Hulks, volley can kill Devastators. The other firing mode, which is just like a normal automatic mode, is good at taking out, you know, Devastators kind of, right? Devastators kind of move at times, so if you're trying to aim for headshots and stuff like that, that's fine. But mainly against Devastators, you want to use the volley because you can just leg them or just shoot them in the chest twice, right? Feels pretty good on that front. against like the little skinny butt or like skinny bots and stuff like that, just hose them down. Other than that, this gun is very versatile, right? I do think this is like a solid high A tier pick, like overall. I know a lot of people are saying like this is like one of the best primaries in the entire game, stuff like that. The reason why that is one of, well, a lot of people are saying that is because the total fire mode. The total fire mode is really good. I understand that, right? But I'm going to be using this gun primarily to kill chaff, to go for weak points and stuff like that. You know, you're constantly switching over fire modes like all the time, right? It's a very versatile gun. I just think that the ease of use of again, this is where like, and again, like this is just my opinion. I understand people probably gonna like give me some hate for it, but at the same time, I have to tell you how it is, right? Medium armor penetrating weapons just give such a good ease of use compared to light armor penetrating weapons. This gun, though, even though it's light armor penetrating weapon, right? It still feels good to use. It just doesn't feel as good as any of these picks up here. Okay? It just doesn't. Because, and by the way, most of these picks up here, you'll notice something. They're medium armor pen. There's only one exception, that's the Cookout. But the Cookout is already just like really, really good to begin with. Because it staggers and it sets things on fire. And fire is already really good in Helldivers. The double-edged sickle counts as light armor pen, whatever, right? But you're going to build into that, and again, you're aiming for medium to heavy armor pen. Everything else though up here is medium armor pen, right? The reason why that the same 5 guns that pop up on tier list on why they're good, about a good 4 of them, I dare bet a good 4 of them are medium armor pen. And the reason why is because medium armor pen, they have good damage. They can handle limbs pretty well, regardless of whether or not like you're just trying to shoot center mass, right? And they have an ease of use factor to them. The ease of use of medium armor penetrating weapons is that if I shoot at a Devastator head, even if I miss, I'm still doing damage. With a light armor pen, I could be shooting at the head, but if the Devastator is moving around too much to where I can't hit the head anymore and get that one-shot kill or one or maybe even 2-shot kill, the problem with that is that any bullet that hits around the head that's not the head is not doing any damage because it is deflecting off. It is bouncing off, okay? That's the reason why medium armor penetrating weapons are more rewarding than light armor pen weapons. Now, even if you have knowledge of enemies to aim for weak points and for aim to, you know, like for weak spots and stuff like that, that's fine. The problem still remains that light armor penetrating weapons aren't as good enough and aren't as rewarding enough still than medium armor penetrating weapons whenever you're aiming for body parts and weak points. They still win. This is my tier list. You guys let me know what you think down in this comment section below. I greatly want to hear back from you guys and just see what you guys think. Tell me where I'm right, tell me where I'm wrong. We'd greatly like to appreciate it. As always, like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.